All right, hello out there, everybody. Welcome to, I guess, the new comic book day haul. It is July 14th. I'm going to be honest with you. I should have checked before I got started. I think it's Thursday. I could be wrong, but it is July 14th, 2022, approximately 106, right? Turns out I need to start paying attention to little comments I get and stuff like that because apparently I haven't been healthy. Long story short, we have the C19. I've got it. I've had it. And I got to tell you, man, it's no joke. I've got 2 days I do not remember. And in that time, I had my G-Mart comic book call come in. The G-Mart comic book call, of course, is out of Chicago. It's a store in Chicago. I've been shopping online there for probably 20 years now. 35% off of new comics if you pre-order. And then when it accumulates to about $85 and over, they ship it to you for free. And I tell you what, the shipping's been going fantastic. Had 2-3 problems in those 20 years and they were fixed and my comics replaced. Never had a problem with them. And I think I got some really good stuff here. Considering how we all know I feel about modern comics and stuff like that. Things could be better in my opinion. And having these few days off and being quarantined for the last couple days, even though I don't remember 2 of the days, I think my mind's coming back. Hey, thanks, Rob Ripa. Right on there, man. Fantastic. Good to see you, Rob. Thanks, man. But I feel much better than I did. But I'm finding out that as I make an effort of doing things, I crash. So we'll see if we can get through this. I mean, we're just looking at some cool comics, with some things. But anyway, I've got a few ideas for some videos. So maybe if I can get some stamina back and shake this crap off, I can get back and maybe be rejuvenated. So anyway, I was going to stall and let people pop in here, but I realized people work, man. People work. So let's get the comic can up. I think we've looked at me enough. But anyway, the show that I did, I guess it was on Sunday. I'm probably out of my mind talking in it. I'm going to have to go back and watch it, see if I need to keep it up because I found a lot of great books. I did not get the C19 virus from traveling. I'll go ahead and tell you that. We know exactly where it came from, had nothing to do with the travel. And everything seems to be cool. We weren't running around spreading things, so luckily we found that out. But anyway, my comic book haul came in, and we got Comic Can here. So basically, the first thing that we have here is I barely opened this thing up where I've been feeling so bad. This thing came in yesterday, right? So basically, back in the day, back in the 80s, there, if you will, I played D&D 2nd edition. And apparently I played from around probably 1984-ish, 85-ish, all the way up to about 89 or 90, right? Same people I played with a few extra groups because what happened is my friends were older and a lot of them ended up taking up to the military and stuff. As soon as I was a freshman in high school, some of them were graduating and sticking around, moving around and stuff. And then around 1990, I started experimenting, playing around with other campaigns with other people, and it just wasn't the same magic for me. Actually, it turns out this was actually the time that Dritz, the Dro Elf, however you want to say it, Dro Elf, whatever. I think Crow, so I say Dro Elf, but apparently that's when the Forgotten Realms books on Dritz, that famous Dro Elf, apparently was taken off. It's by Salvatore. I think that was his name. So I really missed out on a little bit of stuff. But anyway, and then I played around with the Marvel role-playing game that was out back in the 90s. I got back into the gaming through White Wolf games with Werewolf the Apocalypse and Vampire the Masquerade and Vampire Dark Ages. Got out when Changeling came out. So basically, I saw this for 35% off, but apparently there's a multiverse role-playing game out there. And in this thin little book here, this will just go with the role-playing stuff. Apparently there is this is a play set and rule book. This apparently is everything you need to do to sample a campaign, if you will. So yeah, DC put out a multiverse role-playing game. I'll have to flip through this, but I'm imagining that we're going to have some stats for some characters, probably a little adventure, much like a basic set for D&D for you guys back in the day that remember those advertisements. I have the t-shirts for the basic set or expert set, and then of course all the books I wish I'd kept, the hardback books for a real campaign. So where am I going to put these? Okay, so the next thing we have here is the new Fantastic Four. Apparently, there's a mini series. Now, going back to the late '80s, there was 2 issues that Art Adams did where they made a new Fantastic Four, and it was the most popular characters at DC at the time, minus Punisher, if you will. Might have been around 1990, 91, maybe in the. It was right there at the decades merging, if you will, and stuff. Right. So basically, there's been several retro series and miniseries coming out from Marvel where they take you back to an era in time in their history. But there was an era there where there was a 2-part story in Fantastic Four. If I remember, it was 2 parts. I had them somewhere, and it was drawn by Art Adams. They took the Gray Hulk, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, and they made them the Fantastic Four for 2 issues. And they've reunited once or twice. They don't think they were actually ever a team officially, if you will. But apparently they've gone back, and much like they had brought back the Maestro for a few miniseries telling about his rise to taking over the world, the post-apocalyptic Hulk, if you will. And then they've had these X-Men Legends series going out where they brought Walt Simonson, Louise Simonson back, and they did an X-Factor tale that could have been inserted right in 1987 and a few things like that. Apparently, they've got a mini series going here, and I got the Art Adams variant edition. Now, what's really cool about this is I follow Art Adams on Facebook, probably on Instagram also, and I get to see he'll post things that he's working on, covers, commissions, and things like that, and you get to see them evolve as he works on them. So I've been ready for this variant cover for quite a while, because when you pre-order a lot of books, you really don't get to see all the covers through G-Mart, if you will. They'll tell you who the artist is, but you won't see the covers. So yeah, a Wolverine by Art Adams all day long, revisiting this new Fantastic Four. I got the first issue. I don't know if I'll get the rest of them, but that's a beautiful, beautiful cover. Love it, absolutely. A lot of good stuff in here. So what do we have here? These are my receipts. These actually let me know when the books came out and how they held them for me. So we had Fables by Bill Willingham, a book I highly recommend. A book where I think I have found an issue number 1 for about $17, because I was right on board with Fables when it came out, probably back in 2002, 2003. I had the first, 44 issues, and they had to change who the main bad guy was. The whole premise is that there's realms and realms where these fairy tales that we have been told over the generations, they actually exist in their own realms. And these characters have continued to live. And then an adversary came out, and an adversary was leading armies, and he was taking over everybody's realms. So all the fairy tale creatures have come to the real world and are living in secret. So this whole series of Fables, the first 150 issues, all the spin-offs, everything that came out of it, the one-shots, it was a little bit of a phenomenon. Its own little universe, definitely still has its fans. Ran its course through 150 issues, and then here it is a few years later, and they're starting up another 12 issues, and they're picking up the original numbering. So this is a Mark Buckingham cover. It is through DC Black Label since Vertigo is gone. Talk about a crime against nature, dissolving Vertigo, and the way they let it go downhill. And let's face it, the Black Label has lost, in my opinion, any. I don't think there's anybody that's actually a fan of a DC Black Label the way they were fans of DC Vertigo, because it was just a shit show from the get-go. But anyway, one of the good things that we got out of this is that Fables is back, at least for 12 issues that I understand. And this is issue 151, a beautiful cover by Mark Buckingham here. Just beautiful stuff. Can't wait to see what's going on with this. Jumped on the first issue. Bill Willingham's writing it, so Fables is always fun. It's got so much variety in it. If you don't like the story currently going on, wait 5 minutes. And then I actually have obtained this one with the boys taken off and everything. I was there from issue 4 with the boys back when it was coming out. And I'm currently rereading the series, and I got about 20 issues to go. And but basically, they have. I'm assuming this one came out because Either they lucked up and or they planned it, or anyway, or serendipity came in. But with the Boys season 3 series, they brought in Paul Reiser and brought in a character called the Legend that is in the Boys series, right? And for some reason, you get this 50 cents variant cover. This is the variant cover from when it originally came out back in the late 2000s of the first appearance of the Legend in issue number 7 of the Boys. And I just acquired this a couple weeks ago on eBay, the original one. Out of my run, I'm probably missing like 5, 6, 7 issues or something like that of the entire run, and number 7 was one of them. So anyway, this was cool. 50-cent introductory issue. I can stick it in there and keep the run going. Not a lot about to say about it. If you like the Boys, you like the Boys. If you watch the show, you're watching the show. But I just love how the show had a slow burn where it really took off in the 3rd season. It just kind of shows that what they're doing apparently is working. I kind of dipped out halfway through the 2nd season because it was slow. Excuse me. Red Sonja, She-Devil with a Sword, Free Comic Book Day, going back. Now, I got a lot to say about Free Comic Book Day, and if anybody cares out there, who knows, there's not a lot of drama to it. I think there's a lot more that could be done with Free Comic Book Day to help comics in general more than they've been doing. It's a tradition. It's been going on for, well into 2 decades now. This may be our 3rd decade going into it. When you think about it, you always have that day in May, anyway, but I love how Dynamite Comics has the license to the Red Sonja stuff. And for Free Comic Book Day, it looks like they've done a reprint of a Frank Thorne issue that was originally published by Marvel back in the 70s. And I'm pretty sure I already have all the originals. Might be missing 1 or 2, maybe time to go back and fill in those gaps. But I absolutely love how, since they have the rights, they came with the classic Red Sonja from the Marvel days. This fantasy stuff from the 70s is just gold, in my opinion. And Frank Thorne, inadvertently or tongue-in-cheek or on purpose, I don't know. If you go through there, you'll see a few things there where he'll draw a tower that Red Sonja will be, like the splash page opened up and there's Red Sonja looking out on the horizon. I got to get to that tower, and the tower is shaped like a penis. It's very phallic. There's little phallic stuff in there sometimes. All Easter eggs are all part of the fun back in the day here, man. But this beautiful cover, and actually it says Frank Thorne on it. And this is a original Frank Thorne. The recoloring is what's throwing me off. But that is fantastic. Oh man, it's so cool to have a little reader copy there, if you will. And then for another Free Comic Book Day that I was able to pre-order, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I like how this is a homage, I guess, to the first issue, done in the current IDW style. I love how there's been so many incarnations of the Turtles, and we're not too far off, people, from them being 40 years old. I want you to think about that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will be turning 40, about 2 years? 2 years from now? So hopefully we'll have a big, huge celebration and another resurgence of their popularity. The people that love turtles love their turtles. That's all there is to it. And I've said many times, because I'm probably going to do a review on the next book here, because I'll get to it. I'm going to get ahead and stuff, right? But I always like how the Turtles has a history, and it's never really been forgotten. That's what's amazing. Despite reboots and people taking these characters to wild places and ownership issues and different companies, my days are the Mirage days. That first series from Mirage that ended with City at War. What is that? My Turtles are from like 86 to about 91. That's my little era, my little chunk, my little first comics trades back here and things like that. That's my era. So it's cool that my era felt like it ended 30 years ago, but they're still kicking, still alive. And once the Turtles get a hold of you, I think when you actually read the actual Turtle books and get into them and stuff, they get a hold of you, and there's no turning back. They're always going to be a part of you. Always going to be a love for them, if you will. Right? I hate that tape. I'll get that off later. Now, what we have here is a hardback. I now have from IDW what I consider should have been story of the year. If they could have gotten it out on time, and on a regular schedule, that's a better way to put it. The Last Ronin story. Now, I just sat here and talked about how my era of Turtles, well, those years, and this is where they went back, and this is a plot left over from that very era that I love. So I think that's just fantastic that, we get this story that was brought up in the midst of the Turtles rising in popularity back when they were raw and real and still new to everybody. And that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle still had a little magic to the way you said it, because it was so different from how you had to say other titles. It really stuck out. But with all great legends, all great stories, all great fables, the best ones have an ending. You have a beginning and an end, and everything that happens in between, like Robin Hood and King Arthur and everything like that. But we sat here and we had the last Ronin story hardback. I can now read the complete series. I read the first issue, thought it was fantastic. I already said this should have been like a series of the year. This should have won awards. If it hasn't, I don't really keep up with that stuff. I don't know why that's beeping. Well, I'll check it later. But I think I'm having a delivery outside, guys. But anyway, really glad to have this. I'm actually going to probably do a review on it, because I do have a few critiques that I think they missed out on some opportunities. I think they should have went back. Anyway, the whole premise is that there's one turtle left, and part of the mystery is which turtle is it, and what I think it's a revenge plot, but it's going to be, Kevin Easton and Peter Laird plot. That's enough. That's enough. Kevin Eastman finally returned a little bit to the Turtles here and did some stuff. But if you go back and look at those original issues, there's this duotone, and you guys can help me out, because I have the C19 right now, and I can already feel my mind wandering. But the duotone, zip tone stuff, I think the whole series should have been done in the original form style. I'll completely read the book before I come back more with more critique, if you will. Otherwise, I would recommend this to everybody. This is so good. Oh man, but yeah, have this in hardback. Probably one of the few books I actually wished I could get an artist to sign that worked on it. Okay. Oh, yeah, boy. All right. So for years, going back to at least 2015, 16, I had Tylox the Mighty, Scotty X, all these YouTubers, some current, some have returned, some are gone. But you can go back and look at some of our movie reaction videos, and way back in the day, some of which I still get cursed in the comments because there are YouTubers that don't remember that movie reaction videos were something. But we have Dark Horse putting out these phone book omnibuy. I don't know if I'd call them phone book, but as you can see, they're pretty thick. And I've had people tell me to check out Grendel. And I read an issue here. I read an issue there. I have the very issues I got in the 90s of the two Batman and Grendel miniseries. When it comes to Matt Wagner, I'm a Mage fan of his work. I'm a Sandman Mystery Theater of his work. Anything he's touched with Batman, I'm a fan of his work. So this starts out with Hunter's Rose. This goes all the way back. I'm avoiding spoilers. Was the death of Donatello in the last run-in? I'm avoiding spoilers. I'm not going to confirm or deny who the last turtle is and stuff. Rob, so sorry about that, man. Usually, I'll jump on that stuff, but I'm going to back off the spoilers for that. I think when I do my review, I'm going to have to talk about the book and show a few things, and then I'll probably make a statement somewhere in there, or have something held up in the video saying, until I have this back up, this is a spoiler review. So we'll get in that. But a lot of people have always recommended Grendel. I recently came across for like, I don't know what did I'll have to go back and look at the videos, but I found a place in Winchester, Virginia, where if you bought 10 books, everything, all the rest of the, 10, if you bought over 10 books for $1, they dropped to 50 cents and all this stuff. Anyway, I got a huge run of the Kamiko run, and this picks up before that. This probably goes all the way back to that Prime, the first appearance of Grendel back in the Prime Kamiko special or whatever it was. But anyway, this is the omnibus. I've got the second one ordered, but apparently they're getting the complete Grendel series ready for you. Considering that there's been a TV show announced. I haven't heard any other news. I haven't heard if it's in progress, pre-production. I haven't heard anything, but people got really excited. But this opens up black and white version of Grendel, Devil by the Deed, continuing with the multiple Eisner Award-winning short story anthologies, Grendel Black and White and Red, and Grendel Red, White, and Black, and closing with Wagner's longer Rose-era adventure, Grendel Behold the Devil. These stories are now presented in the standard size comics format in which they were originally published. And this thing, I'll tell you what, man, this has $29.99. I got this 35% off. So look at this. This is beautiful. I think this is just fantastic. Can't wait to jump in there and finally experience Grendel like a bunch of my friends have who absolutely love this book. So that's going to be a fun read. What do we have here? We got a few more regular comics. This is The Last Ronin number 5. So basically, there was 5-issue miniseries of The Last Ronin that I talked about. You just saw the hardback. And basically, this is getting put on the shelf. I now have a complete 5-issue miniseries of, hopefully these are mostly the variant covers. We'll have to go look at them. They really jumped on here and knew exactly what they had because they came out with a ton of covers for these. So this is going right on the shelf, be untouched and unread while I read the hardback. So I have 2 issue number 1s, one of which I read, one's untouched, and then the rest of the series. What else do we have here? And this is the big boy. This is what I've been waiting on. Okay, let's just get this box out of the way. And I'll probably end up doing a review of this book at some point in time, even if it's not all that comic booky, if you will. See if we can get closer without making a lot of damage here. But this is one of those times I treated myself non-apologetically. Jim Henson's Labyrinth Beastery. Okay, the definitive guide to the creatures of the Goblin King's realm. One of the best memories I have as a kid, a 12-year-old kid to be specifically, this because I'd been doing this since I was about 7. But we had a theater in town just like everybody else. And in 1985, I just happened to be living in an apartment complex that was probably 2 miles from the local mall. And you would go through the apartment complex, go down a hill, go through another apartment complex, and you're on a dirt road. If you go back and look at the video where Little Hallermouse bought his comics 1979 to 1990 or whatever it is, I kind of show you that road. And I show you the swinging bridge that led over to the mall where you would go in the back. And on Sundays for, I don't know, man, I can't remember what movie tickets were, maybe like $1.75 or $2 back then. Anyway, I know you could go to the movies for $5 and have popcorn and a drink and still have change left over. On Sundays, I would walk down there and I would watch my movies. And one of the best movie experiences I had was Labyrinth. Seeing David Bowie up there just blew my mind, and seeing the enchanting Jennifer Connelly, if you will, really had an impact on me. And then that soundtrack and finding out David Bowie wrote those songs when I was looking at the credits and stuff, right? It was just fantastic. What we have here, Rob Ripa. When you get a chance, look up Cyberpunk documentary on YouTube. It's a 3-part series loaded with info on comics, games, movies, novels, etc. I know you'll love it. I will definitely check that out. And that may be tonight because I'm wiped out right now if I haven't mentioned it. I can feel it. I always love learning more and more and more about anything cyberpunk and stuff, right? So anyway, here's this fantastic hardback that I can't believe I ran across when I was pre-ordering. And I love the sketches, the pencils, everything that's going to be in here. Discover the world of Labyrinth in a guide to the wondrous creatures of the Goblin King's realm, featuring illustrations by acclaimed artist Iris Compet. I can't read it. I got tape right there. Anyway, so this thing, I'm sick, guys. Guillermo del Toro, one of my favorite directors, and he should be yours, says marrying the sensibilities of Iris and Jim and Brian, all the people that made the movies, is a match made in heaven. She understands and enhances the darkness and charm that made the original classic work, but adds her own dark spell and wit to the beastery. I even love the fact that this book is called a beastery. So this thing should be fantastic to read. I mean, look at this art. Look at this art. I'm expecting to see this level of art all the way through it. Definitely will probably do a book review if you guys out there want to see it, if you get around to watching this video. So that's a pretty good haul for the day, I think. I was really glad for this to come in. Got a few other books I'm still waiting on from eBay. Went a little bit eBay crazy, and it's just also crazy how some sellers can get you your stuff, and some, for some reason, seem to drag their feet. I don't understand that. So I'm expecting a few things. Hopefully that beeping I heard just a few minutes ago are some more comics coming back. So anyway, that's it. That's it. Just wanted to get that out of the way. And thanks for Rob being in here, keeping the chat going. And for you guys that catch this in the future, be excellent to each other. A little later, guys.